Everyone, welcome back. I'm here to answer another viewer's question. And today's question is, where in the Bible does it talk about Palestine? Well, in the Bible, the people we now call Palestinians are not directly mentioned by that modern name. You won't find the word Palestinian or Palestine anywhere in the Old or New Testament. However, the land that later became known as Palestine is mentioned several times. So let's break it down based on what the Bible says. First, we have the Philistines. The Old Testament was written during a time when the nation of Israel was in conflict with another group of people living along the coastal region of Canaan, which we know today as the Gaza Strip and some surrounding areas. These people are referred to as the Philistines. We see them in conflict with the people of Israel quite a few times throughout the Old Testament, such as Samson battling the Philistines in the book of Judges, or David facing off against Goliath, who was a Philistine. In fact, the name Palestine actually comes from the word Philistia, meaning land of the Philistines. Philistia is where we get our modern words like Palestine and Palestinian. So if you want to find where the Palestinians were in the Bible, they're located along the coast, at least on one side of Israel. It was kind of like their turf, but again, this is during the Old Testament times. Next, we have Canaan. Before Israel took possession of the land God had promised them, the land was called Canaan. This is how we learn the name. In Genesis 12:5-7, it states, "And afterward Abram, whose name God had changed to Abraham, journeyed through the land in the midst of the Canaanites, and they were in the land of Canaan. Then the Lord said to Abram, To your descendants I will give this land." In this passage, it shows that Abraham is journeying through the land of Canaan and God promises this land to Abraham and his descendants. Again, this is during Old Testament times. Next, we have Israel. As soon as Joshua led the children of Israel into Canaan, and they began to take possession of the land became known as the land of Israel because it was God's way of establishing the nation of Israel there as a visible reminder of the Abrahamic covenant. If you read Deuteronomy 31-29, it says, "And afterward, when the Lord has brought you in and settled you in the land, which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and has given you rest from all your enemies on every side, so that you may dwell securely, then it shall come about that the words of this law, which I have commanded you for your good, will be established on your heart. Remember the whole law, and keep it, O Israel, and do these statutes and judgments, all of them. And when more nations than you and greater than you shall come to him, and when there will come a nation greater than all the nations, a nation whose language you will not understand, speaking a language which you do not know, yet shall make an effort to reach you, even when you go out through the city gate, so that they will take you away as a nation and drive you out of there, then it shall come about when these nations capture you and destroy your last strength, that in the latter days, when it is my delight to pour them out, I will gather all the families of the land of Israel and return them to the land of Israel, and they will dwell there securely. And you, my son, a remnant will be returned, and you shall have no cause to fear the nations that took your land, nor will it be burdensome to you any more. For the Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with singing. In his time, he will rest in his love. For he will turn your captivity in Jerusalem. He will gather you from the nations and assemble you from the countries where he scattered you." And again, this is during the Old Testament times when Israel is possessing the land that God gave them. Then we have Judah. After the nation of Israel sinned and was divided into two separate kingdoms, the northern kingdom was called Israel and the southern kingdom was called Judah. So we see the term Judah being used in place of Israel at times. And finally, during the time of Jesus, during the New Testament times, we have the Roman Empire controlling the land. At this point, they referred to the region as Judea. In Matthew 2-1, it says, "Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea in the days of King Herod, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem." Here the Bible refers to the region where Jesus was born as Judea. Now, this would have been before the Jewish revolt against the Romans in AD 66, because during that revolt, the Jews were fighting against Rome. But after the Jewish revolt and the destruction of the Second Temple in AD 70, the Romans renamed the area Syria Palestina, taking the name from the Philistines. This was their way of erasing any Jewish identity from the land. And this is where we get our modern name, Palestine. So to answer the question, where in the Bible can I find the Palestinians? The answer is the Old Testament. They are mentioned numerous times there. But the land that the Palestinians occupied is also mentioned in the New Testament. During the time of Jesus, it was called Judea until the Jewish revolt against the Romans. Then the Romans came in and renamed the land Syria, Palestine, and that's where we got the name Palestine. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the history of the land from the time of Abraham all the way to Jesus, we made a video going over that history. It's about 10 minutes long, but it gives you a great overview of everything you need to know, and you can watch that video right here. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Signing out.